Okay, so today I'm going to be listening to uh, some pieces by Lawrence Crane, UK composer. This collection is called Derridas for solo piano, written in 1986. The titles of the movements here: Jacques Derrida goes to a nightclub, Jacques Derrida goes to a massage parlor, Jacques Derrida goes to the supermarket, Jacques Derrida goes to the beach, and that's it. And let's see the first two, um, the one on the beach and the one on in the massage parlor. He wrote both of those in November of '85 at Stamford Hill, and then he wrote the other two on the 20th and 28th of April '86, also at Stamford Hill. This is an area in inner London. So it's in the borough of Hackney, if you need to know. Um, Derrida is obviously a philosopher. I'm not going to pull up his biography, but um, this is an interesting looking set of pieces. I'm curious to see how they relate to one another. They all seem to have some sort of repeated note thing going on. And are they all the same tempo? Yeah, they're all at either quarter or eighth equals 72. So right now we're looking at Crane's like earlier piano work. This is sort of towards the beginning of his opus numbers. And Carson Kuhlman has a recording of all four, which is just almost 16 minutes long. So that's what I'll be listening to today. Link in the video description, and I'll let you know what I think. So far with the Lawrence Crane piano pieces, I've been trying to do some formal analysis. So if I can't think of anything interesting to say, then we'll just talk about that for a little bit. So I'll see you in 16 minutes. All right, so my thoughts on these pieces here. I think the middle ones are a bit simpler than the outer ones. Like Jacques Derrida goes to a massage parlor and Jacques Derrida goes to the supermarket. Like it's all sort of variations of the same idea in both of them, but like this is very much just like ABA, you could say. Kind of reminds me of the second piece for James Clapperton that we looked at. And this one it has a DCL finale, so it's basically like A B A B B. Like this ending thing is exactly the same as the middle section. And the outer ones are a little bit more interesting formally, but I think the whole thing in general is kind of less interesting formally than his later stuff. What is interesting is the sort of overt use of pop chords and pop chord progressions, and also the sort of use of dynamics and pedaling and articulation, um, which is something that we don't really see in his later work. The harmony is kind of worth talking about, I think. So, like for example, in this first piece, if you look at the bass line, you kind of have a 4 or a 1 4 two times, then 2 4 1 1 over and over again, and then 2 4 1 1 again. But also the melody note changes. So the 2 second main sections are differentiated by the melody note. Here it's just D flat the whole time. And here it's B flat and then D flat. And the intro, it's actually F B flat. So that's like a whole layer going on. And then there's another layer in the middle, which is just these the E flat F dyad, which does not change. Yeah, the second and like the two middle ones actually both had this sort of Phrygian thing going on where you have these fifths centering around E, and you get the FC to the EB, you know. Those parallel fifths really emphasize some sort of Phrygian thing. But in Jacques Derrida Goes to the Supermarket, you get a bunch of E major uh, stuff. So there's like a shift to the parallel major that happens there. And then Jacques Derrida Goes to the Beach is a really interesting one too because um, it does sit on F for a really long time, for long stretches of time, but it then has these really interesting chords in the end of the main section, um, where these fifths kind of step down. You go F, E, D, C, B flat, A flat, G, back up to C. Like just looking at it, it's a bit unassuming, but in performance, it's quite interesting actually, and it gives you enough time to imagine these little scenes that the title set up. Um, Really, this type of music could accompany almost anything, so I don't think the titles are that important. But from a listener's point of view, it's kind of like if you're getting bored, at least you can imagine Jacques Derrida going to a nightclub or whatever. Okay, the next piece is a companion piece to this, I would say. It's another suite of pieces for piano by Crane called Kierkegaard's.